1460 WVOX.
Stay tuned now for the Racing for Heroes radio show with host Brett Morash on 1460 WVOX.
Hey, Racing for Heroes fans, it's Brett Morash. It is Friday, the 13th of May. We are here on 1460 AM WVOX.com. We have two great guests today. First up is John Moser of SAVE22, and then up after that will be our very own Adam Benaway talking about Hyperfest. But first to Johnny Moser. He is no stranger to Racing for Heroes Radio. He is just an all-about awesome person, one of my absolute favorite people to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So, Johnny, how are you doing, my friend?
Man, I don't know if I can live up to that kind of intro there, Brett.
Well, you're okay for an Air Force guy, so how's that?
Yeah, well, let's not get into that.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, I will tell you, I have this app on my phone called FlightAware 24, and I love watching the orbitals that AWACS birds and Compass call planes and various like RQ drones and stuff are doing off of Ukraine. I get a little weepy when I saw it. And in fact, today I saw a U.S. Army plane, one of those like a C-21. It's like basically like a propeller-driven small executive plane flying into the area, and I just was getting a little weepy thinking about how awesome it used to be.
Right, but you know what? I do have to admit though, that's a young man's game anymore, and you know we're at that. Let's just say we have a lot of expertise in certain things, and we've been around a little bit longer. That's a young man's game. Let them go do it.
It is. And I honestly, I was a surface warfare officer, right? So, we have a lot in common with like the AWACS birds in particular. But I can't imagine sitting sideways in an airplane for 8 hours a day. That would drive me absolutely crazy. At least I had a nice swivel chair and a cup of coffee to drink constantly. So. But
hey, 8 hours a day was a short mission, man. I can remember those guys doing 12, 14 hours, man.
No, actually, you're right, because the big birds, like especially the ones out of Tinker, the ones that are flying like those I forgot it's like the Compass, not the Compass call missions, the other ones like the Doomsday missions. Those guys could go like 3 days, and it was like, if I'm not mistaken, it was sort of the oil in the engine was the long pole in the tent at the end of the day.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But because you can get new gas from a tanker, but you can't get more oil for the engines. Was sort of the deal.
Yeah, last time I checked, us flight engineers weren't doing wing walking to at 50,000 feet to put oil in an engine. So.
Only those World War I guys. So
right.
And those were like total lost oil systems too. It's always amazing to me. Like the plan was you were going to run out of oil. Like that's the deal, getting up in the air. But
that's the plan. Don't run out of oil.
Yeah, right, exactly. Hey, so I think you and I have been talking recently. This is Military Mental Health Month, and the suicide epidemic facing the veteran community is just not only hasn't gone anywhere, but it's basically where it's been for like over a decade now. Absolute crisis. Not much is a lot of stuff's being done, but it's not made a lot of impact, I think, at the end of the day, unless you consider that what all of us have been collectively doing has kept it from getting worse.
Well, I think the number is higher than the 22. That's just a number that stuck with us years ago when the whole movement started. But I'm going to disagree with you that we're not doing enough, because last weekend here in Ohio was the Veteran Suicide Awareness Weekend, as SAVE22 pushed about 5 years ago to get that dedicated. And also this past weekend was our hike. Annual hike, and we had probably 400 people there, and really cool. I saw some amazing impacts with old-time veterans, with new guys, younger kids in their late 20s. The Vietnam vet that we had, he has walked with us every year. This year, he said he thinks it's going to be his last one, but he was the last one to walk in, and when he was about 500 to 1,000 yards away from us, we had not realized he had dropped off. And I want to say 40 of us surrounded him, walked up and met him and surrounded him as he finished. The remaining 300 people stood there and just welcomed him home. And he turned to Albert Wooden, who you spoke with yesterday, president of SAVE22, And with tears in his eyes, he said, "I've waited 50 years to feel like I was welcome back home."
That's amazing.
And I think this was it. So thank you.
No, that's
so
great.
I mean, we're doing a lot. It's just the unfortunate thing is the good stuff doesn't get the newsworthy. The bad stuff gets the news.
No, and don't get me wrong. I wasn't saying like like Race Bureau's SAVE22. I mean, like in the collective world, I mean, there's just not enough being done. So,
I'm aware.
Yeah, don't mistake what I was saying. I mean, I just, to your point though, and I think that, the Vietnam vets comments are actually very foretelling, because the highest percentage of the suicides the highest percentage of the suicides that they're able to get data on is really the Vietnam era veterans. Although there's a lot of research to suggest that the post 9/11 veterans are committing suicide in ways that is like a question mark as to whether it was suicide or not. So like a good example is up here, getting high-speed motorcycles and hitting a bridge embankment, or so like kind of death by motorcycle and things like that. So that insurance pays off and things like that. And the Vietnam vets are the ones I think suffering most, but they're also the ones that for years did not have the supports that I think the post 9/11 vets enjoy.
And that is 100% correct. I've spoken with Vietnam vets, and they're like, "Man, we didn't have any of this when we came back." And then I have to turn around and thank them, because as much as they fought for their benefits with Agent Orange diseases and things like that, they did a lot to put a focus on the veteran that helped us out in the 90s, coming back from the first Gulf War.
That's right.
We didn't have to wait 25 years to get Gulf War illness noticed. I think it was like 15. I mean, it's getting better, but the active duty guys, they don't get a transitional class when they leave. Like they'll break you down and train you in basic training to be this awesome machine and follow orders and stuff. But when it's time to get out, like they don't give you even like a 3-dayer.
There's no deep boot camp.
Here's your way.
Right.
Yeah, there is none. There's no civilian boot camp. And, that's what I try to do with these guys is when they talk to me or I talk to them or I do the podcast, just a little bit of training on how to be a civilian. And I know that sounds funny, but, I don't have to answer the phone, Master Sergeant Moser, this line is unsecure. How can I help? You don't
you
have
could,
to.
though.
That's not the kind of training I need.
You could, though. That'd be awesome.
That's not the kind of that's not the kind of training these guys need. These guys need to know that, it's okay to not have anything to go to, right?
Yep.
It's okay to sit on your deck with your dog and a glass of iced tea or your favorite drink and a cigar and just enjoy the moment. And so many of us, myself, 6 years ago, when I was ready to end it all in my truck, I wasn't thinking of anything like that. I was just thinking, all I do is argue with my wife and my kids don't want to be with me. I don't know how to be a dad. I don't know how to do this. The meds the VA was giving me, I gained 65 pounds in a year. I have no energy, and you just get frustrated with it. And unless we have people out there that can talk about SAVE22, Mission 22, Battleground 22, Broken Adventure, Broken Arrow Adventure here in Ohio with Ryan Miller. Unless we're talking about things like this to other veterans, they're not going to know this stuff, because I'll be damned, the VA ain't going to tell us about it. That's for sure.
Right. And I think that's where, what I like is all of the different types of nonprofits that are out there that are doing different things, because what works for Johnny Moser is probably not the same thing that necessarily works for Brett Morash or Mike Evach or, Joe Schmo. Right. And that's where like people who do like yoga for veterans, like, I think that's great. There's another one that does beekeeping, which I think is just amazing. And, obviously Race of Heroes, we do race cars. And I know you guys do a little bit of that too.
We do race cars.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in a second, because I did want to highlight that.
Okay.
We have, but those are sort of things like I think they're important. And I think that, as veterans, we're all responsible. I mean, listen, it's sort of like talking about the Navy, the greatest of all the services. I'm just kidding. But the Space Forces. If you can join the Space Force, go in the Space Force. But I'm all joking aside though, like, I think everyone tends to look at what they do and they're like, well, yoga is the best thing. And then other people are like, oh yeah, okay. You know, like, but that's where like, you have to kind of find like your thing. And then, you know, but that's where you'll get in and you get the sense of community and stuff like that, which I think is really, you know, central tenet to like what Race for Heroes does, what SAVE22 does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, you need to find that niche for that individual veteran. And that's what's great about SAVE22. You know, Albert and Nick Trussell have put together a fantastic motorsports outreach program with Xfinity Series at Mike Harmon Racing with the 47 and the 74 car. Karen Cochran over there has done a fantastic job with us. I want to say going on 5 years now. They're going to have a couple veterans and their families down at the Texas race, which I think is next week. We're going to do some Pocono and I think Michigan up real soon. I don't have the list in front of me. You caught me out on a errand run.
That's okay.
But, you know, Lex June this weekend in the VIR, he's looking to make the race this weekend. He's a huge supporter of us. He's got SAVE22 on his car. He's a huge advocate for us. We also have the Iggy 6 Motorsports team with Brandon and Jonathan putting some stuff together. They're going to be down at VIR, I think, next weekend. Hayden Bowlesby is the driver for that.
Oh, Hayden's
we
a big
talked
deal,
about him last time we were on.
Right.
That kid, let me tell you about Hayden. If you want somebody to go follow Hayden Bowlesby Racing. That kid is 18 years old and convinced his mother to drive from Louisiana all the way to Carrollton, Ohio for last weekend's hike just to be there to show support for us and how much we have done for him. I mean, just a fantastic kid. So check him out, look him up, follow him. If you get to some of our races for the FR and the F4 series, please stop by and say hello. And a huge announcement that we had last week, the toolbox that was auctioned off. I don't know if anybody saw that, but our tool guy here, the tool dude, Doug Poole, donated I want to say it's like a $30,000, looks like a pit box.
Oh, wow.
And raffled off a bunch of tickets. And one of the individual that won it donated it back to Iggy 6 Motorsports. So the SAVE22 emblem,
that's amazing.
The Damien Demon, the story is all on this toolbox. It's going to go to all of the races that we're at. Going to be a great conversation starter. Just, you know, the amount of generosity and charity that our guys give it's immeasurable, right? And you can see it by the look on the individuals' faces and how they change when they come talk to us. They come to us scared and afraid because they've never been in a position like this. And by the time we're done talking to them, man, we're high-fiving, we're hugging, we're crying. They've got a new, it's just, I love it. It's great. And I can't wait to get out to the track. Nick was making fun of me yesterday and telling me to get over to Pocono, but Pocono's not this weekend. Next night try. But
no, you're gonna send the note to me because I live not too far from Pocono, so I'll show.
All right. Well, that's great. I'll keep that in mind and we'll give you a call when we're up there. How's that?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, because it's about 3 hours from where I live, so you know, not too far.
All right.
Yeah,
but 6.5 for me. So
yeah, that's a bit of a hump. So you know, definitely staying overnight. Where us, it's a long. I like to think of it as like a long feature-length movie, maybe like Lawrence of Arabia with the intermission in the middle. But that's old school, man. That's when you're really old school.
Yeah.
Hey, so Johnny, before we bring Adam on, any last shout outs for the SAVE22 universe?
You know, the SAVE22.bet guys, they have been amazing. You can get on there. You can find a donate button. You can find links to other things that we support. Dogs for Our Brave actually got called yesterday by us for another veteran. Dogs for Our Brave, dfob.org out in St. Louis. They raise they train service dogs for veterans, and there's no charge for that dog for the life of that dog to the veteran. So veteran bills, food bills, retraining, travel, anything like that is all taken care of by Dogs for Our Brave. And I really just want to get them out there and let them know, man, we really appreciate them. Chris Miller and Zulu's my buddy over here in Ohio. That dog is amazing. Chris is amazing. The things that we can do with these dogs, besides racing, obviously we have a lot of tentacles out there, and Brett, I'd have to be on with you every week for a year to be able to highlight everything.
No, that's true, John. And listen, you got so much. And wait, don't forget the Straight Talk podcast. Let's do a quick shout out to that before.
Sure. We'll talk about myself. JohnnyMomedia.com and Straight Talk Podcast. STR8, the number. Talk, TALK. Straight Talk Podcast. Give it a search on all your platforms. I talk about my story, my darkest day, how I recovered, what I've done, and we try to bring guys on that have done the same and have a story to support veterans and their nonprofit. Ryan Miller was just on with his Broken Arrow Adventure. In fact, my daughter was just on, and she talks about being a daughter of an alcoholic, the daughter of a service member who's deployed. And I have 3 more guys in line that are going to talk about their struggles with alcohol and drugs and how they recovered. So really just looking to spread awareness that, look, man, you're not the only one.
Absolutely.
Many of us have gone through it.
All right. Well, Johnny, thanks for being there, and obviously appreciate everything you do. And we're going to let you go with that as we bring on the Adam Benaway of Racing for Heroes. Adam is currently down in Alton, Virginia at our headquarters, getting ready to kick off the day 1 of Hyperfest. Adam, how are you doing?
Hey, Brett, you there?
Yeah, I can hear the engine report in the background. So I know you're there.
Yeah, we're down here at VIR at Hyperfest this year, and so far day 1 going 100 miles an hour. No pun intended.
No pun taken. That's every day at Racing for Heroes.
Correct. Now times that by 2 because we had about 30,000 people. We got Marine recruiters here, Monster Energy drink, Vaughn getting junior, drift teams, everyone's here.
Oh, that's amazing. And I did see the Jimmy Sprecher was down there too, which only adds to the mayhem.
Yeah, so last night we got his memorial trailer here because this week busy with Racing for Heroes.
Right.
And our other memorial trailer is going down to Suffolk.
Yep. And
so we have Jimmy's drag racing memorial trailer here with all the names of all the KIA since 9/11. And so we got to set up on the main vendor road, and there's just hundreds of people walking by.
Oh no, it's amazing. I mean, and I think that like Hyperfest almost needs to be addressed as like, welcome to Hyperfest, because it's like such an awesome like monster truck rally level of like crazy. So for those folks that don't know, like, can you just tell us like what is Hyperfest anyway?
If I was going to put it in a single statement, Hyperfest is kind of like the Woodstock of automotive motorsport.
That's a good one.
It's pretty crazy. So you have every genre of motorsports. You got drift cars, track cars, rally cars,
dirt bikes.
And the Chaos crew is out here with the off-road trucks going through all the trails.
Oh, are they? Oh gosh.
Yep. Any type of motorsports, automotive, vendor, part manufacturer you can think of is here. It's kind of like the SEMA, but outdoors, and everyone's driving.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's 30,000 people in Alton is like I don't know, like 100 times the size of Alton.
Their population. There are probably more trailers on VIR right now than people in the town of Alton.
I absolutely believe that. That's amazing. But yeah. So now, what are you doing? So you guys are down at the Midway, right? Like down the main drag there. Is that where we're set up?
Yeah. So right now we're at the Racing for Heroes booth. Kind of with the Hyperfest rally team, and all day for the rest of the day today, and tomorrow we're doing rally ride-along with our rally cross cars side by side, and I got a crew down at the rally track of all veterans driving the cars. Colin Garrett's joining us. He's going to be driving this afternoon. People can basically come up, donate, and take a ride around the rally course, and an option of a side-by-side or a rally car, and they can also donate to drive the rally car. So if you don't have your own rally car, you can show up and drive one of ours.
Oh, well, that's amazing. Well, what about safety gear? Do people have to bring their own safety gear, or do we provide?
So we're providing the minimum required safety gear, but if people want to bring additional safety gear, that's welcome. But there's no wheel-to-wheel. It's going to be kind of one car on a course at a time, so the threat's low, but the fun is through the roof.
And that's on the rally course. And I didn't realize that Colin is driving a rally car now. Like if there's anything that Colin can't do that he can't drive, I don't know what it is. So
well, if he can't, he's going to learn today.
I know, maybe like he just doesn't drive anything slow. No, because I had a chance to, I took my wife's Land Cruiser out on the rally track there, and I didn't realize, and I'd never driven on that track before. We got a little bit of air on it, and Darren was like, "Hey man, I think you got air off that." I'm like, "No, no, no." He's like, "Oh yeah, you did." So I think it's deceiving how fast that track really is, and if you're out there, like what those cars can really do.
Oh yeah, and the deceiving part is you're on dirt and next to trees. You got ditches on your left and right. It's not a wide open course.
Right.
But even 80 miles an hour on the rally course feels like 140 down the front stretch of VIR because everything's very close proximity.
Right. No, but listen, it's an amazing opportunity. And how much of the donations? Where are the donations sort of at?
So we're getting basic ride-alongs for $20, and then if you want to drive our cars, you essentially get 3 runs, and we're making that a $75 donation where you get to drive our cars. So, which is kind of unheard of. There's not a lot of options to show up and drive a car for that cheap.
Yeah.
And of course, all those proceeds go to Racing for Heroes and all of our programs, the health and wellness, and just further the mission of Racing for Heroes.
Well, that's great because I mean, we have some big changes coming up. They just broke ground on the Health and Wellness Center. We just brought on Joshua Babb, who's just been fantastic, hitting out of the ballpark every day, kind of corralling the health and wellness program and getting it really pointed in the direction I think that Mike and Ricky Camp's vision is. So I just expect so much amazing stuff to come up in the next year or so.
Yeah. So of course, this is all going for that vision that we have in the next year, and things are, getting busy, doing well, and of course, helping veterans is our
absolutely
main focus.
And Adam, before I let you go, because we are in the last few minutes of the show, how is Legends car racing going?
So doing really well. The seat is kind of slow right now. They cut back to like 1 race a month because of the Hoosier tire shortage.
Oh no!
So now it comes down to a conserve your tire type effort. So I'll finish up Hyperfest, and then I have my next race on the 21st of May in Fayetteville.
Oh, so next weekend, yeah.
And of course with Willie, I know he was your guest last week or the week before. We're running out at Millbridge, Charlotte Motor, out in the Charlotte area, which is a really awesome track. We're trying to grow that series out there. Is
it asphalt or dirt?
It's a small dirt track.
Okay.
And Brett, it would fit in the front parking lot at the Racing for Heroes headquarters. That's how small it is.
Oh Lord, that's amazing. Well, because we had DJ Murphy on, and DJ's racing on asphalt. He actually won that race right after we interviewed him. So hopefully, Adam, this will give you that good karma that you need to win the race.
Oh yeah, definitely. And me and Willie have been talking about going to do some asphalt racing.
Yeah, well, I'm listening.
About time and money and opportunity.
Time, money, and opportunity. But listen, I mean, you're also one of the few people I know that won an SECA championship, not once, but at least twice.
Correct. And I'm...
You're too humble to talk about it, I know, but...
The Legends car has been a very challenging transition. I take everything I learned and accomplished in SECA and throw it out the window because it's a whole different game.
Oh no, I'm assuming it is. It's just, but it's amazing, and I do like how all those cars are really effectively spec'd between each other, and it really is a pretty fair series, and it really comes down to driver capability more than necessarily the machinery itself.
Well, driver and setup is the biggest thing. But something with the SCCA that we're going to do is, of course, our annual charity event out at Charlotte, or DMAC in Charlotte in November. But we teamed up with the Cross Kart USA guys, and they're going to bring a cross kart out to that charity event to give the participants one more added level of like excitement. Because last year they got to drive my Legends car on the autocross course. This year, the winners or the faster people are going to get to drive a 1,000cc all-terrain cross kart, which it's a cross between a side-by-side and a Legends car.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be amazing.
It's pretty awesome.
That sounds awesome, and I don't even have a picture of it.
Yeah, we'll get you linked up, and maybe we can get Scott on the radio in the near future.
Oh, that'd be fun. Hey, last minute before I have to let you go, what's up with the Hoosier Tire thing? What happened?
So they're saying it's all supply chain, break in the supply chain. But the tires we use are specific to the Legends.
Oh,
so
okay.
Whereas like Mike and them, they get common use tires. We have a very specific tire that has to be stamped by the sanctioning body.
No kidding.
So that cuts down our numbers as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, I can appreciate that greatly. It's like my kids just had to buy a $500 sale because only one manufacturer is allowed to make it. So I totally get it. So that's the price of racing, my friends. But Adam, listen, thanks for being on the show. I know you got to get back to it, but always a pleasure to have you on. And I hope all is well with the U.S. Army as well. And, you're getting ready for your last year before retiring.
Yep. And then I can help you out every week.
Chief Operations Officer. That's what I'm thinking. So
sounds good.
Well, that's down. We'll come up with a better title.
All right.
Chief Racing Officer. That'd be fun. Okay. All right.
All right.
Listen, thanks again, Adam. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Racing Heroes. Please, if you are down in Virginia this weekend, be sure to check out Hyperfest. If you don't know what it is, go look at it online. It is just amazing. As Adam pointed out, it is like the Woodstock of automotives. I mean, it's just incredible and just an incredible group of people. And with that, we're at the end of our show. We will be back next week. We're going to take a little break for Memorial Day weekend, and then we'll be back after that. And with that, we're going to leave you with a little further down the road by the Real Tech Lane. See ya.